Alright everybody, hey, this is Tony, our Cabin of Woods. What I got to do today is my Ranger. She's approaching almost 400,000 miles, just a few thousand from it. And I've had a problem with it leaking transmission oil. And I'm going to do a video on how to fix it. I've installed these rubber plugs in it, probably around the 150,000 mile mark already once. So I guess I'm going back in again to do them. They're on the back of the transmission up top. And they're really the way you're supposed to replace them is pull the transmission, or you take the fan shroud off, you take the cross member out, and you tilt the transmission down. You can get to it that way. I don't have a lift no more. I'm not a mechanic no more. So I have to work with what I've got. But what I do know is Ford, when they designed this transmission, they did it. Let me see something here. Okay, we're all the way back. What it is down in this area, I'll try to get the light lit up here better for you. This is the shifter. All right, down in here, back in this point back here on the transmission. Trying to get a light on. Anyway, shifters here, back under here, back in this area is where these three plugs are. They're up underneath here. I do know, I seen it the last time, because last time I did it, I actually pulled the transmission because my slide cylinder clutch went bad, and that's when I noticed the plugs were leaking on the train, so I replaced them. But back to now here, I did notice that they've got their shifter deal here, but also Ford has a larger cutout. It comes way out over here. It's just a big cutout, and there's 4 screws, one each corner. If I take that screws out, that plate out, up past here, it opens up this whole area for me to get in here. I have big mitts, and they just don't get in tight spots at all. So I'm gonna take those 4 screws out. I'm gonna try to get this shifter piece off. That compression fitting's pretty hard to break loose. So I'm gonna try to get that all off, get it open so you can see where it's at, and we'll go from there. All right, one thing I want to show you. There's a nut. This is the nut right here. Get close up. There's your nut. That nut was on this side. What you do is you unscrew the nut all the way, take it completely off. You're going to screw it on this side, and you tighten it up as tight as you can go. And once it gets to a certain spot, this is a tapered thread. Once you go to a certain spot, that nut will pull that stud right out of there, and there it comes right up. Let me get it here. There she goes. She pops out. You see how it's kind of like a tapered deal to it, and that nut pulls that stud right out of there. So that's why they do that. A lot of people don't know. They give up on it. They don't understand. Pretty cool what they did, but this nut was on the other side. It goes in this way. Get in, it only goes on one way. Get it in there, and you put that nut on there. On this side, you pull that forward, and that locks it in. So what happens now? All I got to do is you take that shifter off. There we go, and you can see that flat spot on there. When you put it back together, it's going to slide in there on that flat spot. It goes in this way and locks on in there. And then this cover comes completely off. And then there we go. There's the top of the transmission, this part of it. Now, here's the plate. I know for a fact there's a bolt here. There's a bolt here. There's 4 bolts. I need to get them off. All right, we got the 4 screws out. There we go. There's 4 screws that hold that in. There's one that goes right there. There's one that's right there. Hard to see it, no light there. And then there's one that's way back here, way back here. I had to cut the carpet. I don't care. This is my truck. 400,000 miles. It's either I'm going to die first or the truck's going to die first. So I really don't care what happens. But here we go. This is the plate that you can pull off. Of course, that's all underneath your truck that you're seeing. And then here's these seals. They're right back right in that area. They don't look like they've been leaking though. I'm going to replace them, but from underneath the oil is running right down from up here, from underneath. Unless it's running through that mud and muck. I don't know, but the 3 seals are right here though. That's where they're going to be. There is one. Let me get a rag, clean that up. Alright, we can see them right there. Those are the 3. You can tell that one time before, whenever I put the new plugs in, I added silicone around it too. And when I did take it apart, on the bottom left-hand plug was sopping wet. It was like a tunnel going over. Let's see here. Get my finger in here. This one right here was leaking real bad this direction. I'm not too sure it was my full leak or not, but it was this right here. You go underneath the truck and you can see like a clear spot, like stream. So either the gasket on the tail shaft housing's gone, or that plug is. I'm going to see how hard it is to pull out these plugs. They should be really hard in material now, not rubbery. So they should, well, look at that. Holy crap. That's coming right out of there. Alright, let's try another one. I mean, that came right on out. That's pretty hard there, or pretty easy to, it's soft. Alright, that one. Well, I'm going to have to work with these other 2, but you've seen that one come right out of there easy. Alright, let me get these out and we'll get back together and show you what we got. Alright, I got the 3 plugs out. They are hard as a rock. The other 2 came out, once I got my fingers in there and the screwdriver, they popped out just as easy. They are just hard. No more softness to them. The outer edge had something, but they don't. They're no good. They're junk. And then there's the 3 holes. Let me move this over here. There's the 3 holes. You can see them right down there. Now, most of the time, those 3 holes are when the... Alright, I've got 2 of them in, and I'm fixing to push that one over there in. And look closely, you see that silicone that's on there. Let me see an old one. When you put silicone on them, you don't want to, you see how it's, I got too close. You can't see it. There's not a lot of silicone on there. What you're not wanting to do is, when you push it in, that the silicone ends up on the inside of the transmission, because it can fall off, get inside your tranny. That goes for any engines, anything like that. You do not want to put a lot on it, because you don't need a lot. And all we're going to do is take that and push it in, and it's in. We're in. All 3 are in. You do not... it's hard to get them out. When they're made to go in, they're very hard to come out until they get real hard, and then they come right out of there. But the silicone you want to use anything that's oil resistant, gasoline resistant, because that will have oil on it. You're going to get splattered with it. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little cheat. I'm going to take out my shifter anyway. Right here. Take out those 3 screws. We try to put a light on here. There's a screw here, there. I'm going to pull the mechanism out. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to drain my oil. And because there is a plug that goes on the side of the transmission down here. It's all the way down the bottom to put transmission oil in it. But the problem is I don't have a suction deal or small tubes laying around to be able to push it in, and I may get all the dirt. As you can see, the transmission's really nasty, dirty. We live on a gravel road. I used to travel 2.5 miles, 5 miles a day on it, and the minimum. And so it's all racked. It's all full of rock and gravel, all kinds of junk. So I just prefer to drain the oil from downstairs. I'm going to go ahead and take that top shifter part off right there. I'm going to take that plug out of the side of the transmission. That's where you would put fluid in. And what you're supposed to do is put fluid in until oil comes running out of that side plug. And I'm just going to avoid from putting something in the hole where I might push dirt or gravel like that in it. So I'm going to drain the oil out of it, take that shifter deal out, and take the side plug out. And once it's done draining, I'll put the bottom plug back in, And then I'll go ahead and start pouring my oil in through the top. Pour the oil in through right here until it comes out that side plug. That way I can avoid any kind of dirt, bad stuff getting in the side of the transmission. That's what I'm going to do. Let me get this top cover off and I'll show you that. Alright, I'm going to show you the screws. Those 3 screws for the held on that shifter. They're called Torx bits. That's what it looks like. And this is the tool. This is a 30 TX30 bit. And the bit goes, it just goes right in there like that. Another thing I wanted to show you real quick, if I'm going to pull that out right now, is also the bag. I'll write down in the show notes later the bag that these came in. This is the part number. These are Ford parts. I don't know what the real price is. I get discount, so I imagine they're probably, my guess, somewhere around, I bet you there's somewhere around $10 or more, maybe even $13, I'm guessing. But that's the part. I'll put them in there. These are Ford parts. They're in there right now, back together. Excuse me, this is my junk truck. So anyway, that shifter, it comes right out of there. I'll clean this all up, going back together. And then there's the hole. Alright everybody, I got the drain plug loose. It's ready to come out. And let's see, alright. I'm probably gonna make a mess. I'm hoping not. And I was thinking a while ago, sorry if you guys hear a loud fan running and all that, and which you do. That's my swamp cooler. It's over 100 today with the heat index. Kind of one reason why I'm going to stay in the garage today and get this needed to be handled. All right. I think there's about 4 quarts of oil that's in this, but I know it's not full because it's been leaking like a year. And that's scary when it's that low. Material on that magnet, that's a magnet for the oil. Let's clean up this real quick. But you gotta remember, this transmission does have it has 396 miles, I think, or 397,000 miles on it, I believe. So, I mean, there's a lot of miles in this training. It's all cleaned up. And I don't go far with it. I just don't make a lot of trips with this. I've got my big diesel I take when I take big trips. And this here I used around here and on the property. All right. And then I'm gonna try to get you. I told you about the drain plug. I'm gonna try to scoot this all around, or the sign plug. I'm hoping, because I can't. That plug right there is the drain, the side drain, where the oil will come out when I start filling it from up top. What you're supposed to do is take this plug out. The plug is out. And get my drain bucket under here. Catch some of the oil. Alright, we've been putting oil in it. Now, it's getting close to me watching where... Gotta find my drain hole. Alright, there's my drain plug hole. Now we gotta watch and see when fluid comes out. And, alright, it's coming out now. So right now, we are full. Put the plug back in. You can't see what you're doing, it's a pain. There it goes. So now this transmission's completely full. I looked it up, this transmission, being it's not a four-wheel drive truck, it holds about 3.5 quarts of oil is it. So it's right at that spot right now. Alright, let me finish tightening this up and get out of here. Alright, we've got the transmission bolts back in the side. That's all done. Now what we're going to do is slide this shaft back in here. It should slide right in pretty easy. There it went. It just goes right on in. There's actually you can see it's like a flat screwdriver almost. It'll slip right in its spot wherever it needs to be. Shake it. And there it is. It's in. And now we'll put our 3 bolts in. These were the Torx bit bolts. Now I got all 3 bolts are tight. Now we're going back and reverse what we did before. We're going to go ahead and slide our plate in. This is the plate that was in there that I took out originally. Let's take it, slide it around, pick that up. Alright, it's pretty close to where it needs to be. It'll take me a few minutes to find the screw holes. Search around for them. There's one that's going to be way over here. So what I always try to do is I find the one that I know I see, and then I can pivot on that to find out where it's at. Yeah, we're on the last screw that held that plate in. Okay, the last screw's in. That was that plate that went all into this carpet that opened up this area for me to look down to get to those 3 seals. Next thing you want to do is, once again, now you're working backwards. And we got a rag here. Clean that up. Okay, now let's see here, I'll show you this. Right down on the top of the shifter, right here, is a groove. Right there. It's a groove. Alright, that groove is there inside the shifter. I know you're not going to see it, but inside here, there's a notch. So what we're going to, oh, before we do that, we went too far. We just need to slide that on. I know that's all junk, and it's junk. That's alright. This truck's junk. I'm just trying to make it last. Here we go. We'll put those screw holes and everything back in later. Alright, back to the shifter. Alright, in here there is a notch. The notch is on the other side of my fingers, right in there. So what we're going to do is line that up completely. Just shake it around and you can see it's just dropping right down on top of there. We're there now. Now what we need to do is next work on this. Let's get the light over here better. We've got to get this bolt. Alright, there's your bolt. And there's that flat spade I told you about. Remember, the nut was on the back side of this. I just unscrewed it. So now what's going to happen is we're going to slide that on in. And we're going to shake it just a little bit, and it falls in that spot that's in the shifter. So now what we do is we take this nut, pull that back out again. Here's this nut. We're going to put the nut back on the front, and as we tighten this, when it gets tight on the shaft, it's going to pull, the nut's going to pull that in there so it's tight. And remember, in reverse, when we were taking this out, we took this nut off, and that was all the way in there. And we screwed this nut on this side, and as I tightened down this nut on here, it pulled this out, and then that allowed us to pull the shifter. So now we're working backwards like I just showed you again. Those are replay in there. Anyway, we're going to send that in there, shake it around a little bit. Now it's all the way in. Now we're going to go, I'm going to lower this shifter down, and we're going to work on tightening this nut up. Hold on. All right, now. Okay. Right down there is the nut on the transmission. We need this wrench that I can't reach. All right. I believe it's a 17. Yep, it is a 17 nut. So now what we're going to do, we're going to tighten this down. And as we tighten it, it's pulling that shaft, that wedge, in the shifter, and it's locking it in spot. One more time. All right, there we go. So by tightening down this nut, it pulled this shaft through, which tightened down inside here. So now that makes that tight, shifter won't pull out, and this part's done. Put this boot back together. That goes down in here. I've got an ashtray, all kinds of stuff to get back on this thing and put it back together again. I hope you kind of understood what I was trying to do. Kind of hard to do. You lay on the ground, inadequate lighting. I don't have electric in the garage yet, so I'm using lighting from my solar. That's what my swamp curl is using, off my solar batteries. But anyway, that's it. It's really pretty easy to do. I was pretty shocked on how low it was, and now I was already looked at it, and it was about a quart low in oil. I mean, I only had about a quart left, and it's supposed to hold 3.5, so we're probably 2 quarts low. I wasn't having problems with the transmission, but I just knew it was getting low and I had to do it. So hopefully she'll hold together and keep on going. Hopefully those 3 seals took care of the problem that with those 3 seals that are bad. In the description, I will go ahead and put the part number. Those are Ford parts, and that goes to, this here is a 94 Ranger. I know from like 91, 2, 3, 4, they're basically using Mazda transmissions. If you have 3 plugs on the top of a transmission, that's what you need to get. And I've seen them leak a lot. I worked for Ford a long time ago, and I was in a powertrain. I did that. That's how I knew about those. But this one, hopefully that fixes this. It's not the transfer case seal, or not transfer case, the tail shaft seal. I guess I'll find out after driving it here and there and see if I still leave a puddle of oil. All right. Hey, if you like what you see, subscribe, hit the bell button, thumbs up if you like what you see, and also if you would, that helps me out. All the minutes I can get help. Tell everybody. Any comments, please leave me. If you have any questions, leave them. Don't mind a junk truck, because that's what I use it for. I mean, everything and anything. It's a good truck. Alrighty, y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Thank you.